Hi, everyone. I'm Brittany, the host of the Shed podcast and also a health coach here at Shed. If you have ever tried to change your habits to eat better, to work out more, to sleep deeper, and felt like you knew what to do but couldn't make it stick, this episode is for you. Today, I am joined by Elizabeth, one of the brilliant minds behind our coaching program here at Shed. She's a certified health coach and has helped hundreds of people bridge that frustrating gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. In this episode, we're getting into what health coaching really is and how it can change your life. Elizabeth, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hi, Brittany. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, as a certified health coach and as someone who has successfully coached hundreds of people to build lasting healthy habits, I want to know, in your own words, what is health coaching?
Most importantly, they are behavior change experts and they're trained in various coaching strategies to help a client feel in control and really get to the root of what they want to change, why they want to change, and how they're going to change. So a health coach is going to help you really create that action plan and keep tailoring things to help you overcome challenges and really leverage the things that you're good at so that your change is long-term sustainable.
So whenever people think of health coaches, they think, well, what would I get that is different from any of those things? How do health coaches specifically differ from, let's say, a nutritionist, a dietitian, a personal trainer, or even advice that you would get from a doctor?
Yeah, absolutely. When you see a professional like a dietitian, a personal trainer, a doctor, everything that they're giving you is prescriptive. Like you said, I want you to. And so we may want those same things, but again, they're not going to sit there and lecture you on the recommendations for X, Y, and Z because you may already know those things, but it's not about necessarily what you know, it's about how you're going to implement them and how that works with your own life.
What do you think about clients who I know I have clients of my own that come to me and say, do you have a meal plan I can follow? Do you have, a workout program that I can follow? What is kind of your advice for people who are maybe searching for those things or who maybe have that expectation from a health coach?
Now, if a client comes in expecting a health coach to have a personalized meal plan or a workout recommendation, the conversation is going to turn into like what ways do you like to move your body? What's interesting to you? And then they're going to empower that person to seek those things out and to try new things for themselves. Same thing with like a nutrition plan. So we can give them the basics of a healthy diet looks like portion sizes, getting enough fiber, enough protein, all of those things. And then a health coach is going to ask them, how can you see yourself making a plate that contains these components? What's a new item that you might want to try that would meet these nutritional recommendations? To have them start creating that small change and really powering the how.
And so I would love to dive a little bit deeper into like how you as a health coach dig into that how and what that might look like in real life for people to be able to make behavior change. How would a health coach in real life um, coach that client to make some of those behavior changes? What would that look like?
Once the coach and the client have established what maybe the problem has been in the past or what things have worked really well for the client, they can work together to try some new small adjustment. So maybe the example is that client's barrier to changing their nutrition is that they're really busy, and when they get home from a long day at work, they're exhausted and they don't want to cook a meal, and so they're ordering takeout. We see that all the time. So the conversation may turn to, what do you think you could do to make sure that you're prepared with something to eat? And for some people, they're going to jump to like, oh, I can do some meal prep. Other people are going to be like, I absolutely do not have time for meal prep. And then we don't always have to, select the gold star option, right? There are always gray areas. Everything is on a sliding scale here. So if someone's not willing to go straight for the highest option, in this case maybe meal prep, we can help guide them towards, okay, well, you like to order takeout. What places have maybe some better options? And then a lot of times people tell me, oh, well, I can get a cauliflower bowl at Chipotle. And we're like, that's awesome. Okay. So next week, how about we try, 2 nights a week, you identify, um, two takeout options that are healthier, that have protein and fiber and veggies. And the client says, okay, yeah, sure, I can try that. And that's their goal. And they work on that. And then in the next session, we come back and we talk about what changes, what worked well, what didn't work well. And we kind of adapt the plan from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a process, right? Like, I think people think that behavior change is going to happen overnight. Like I said earlier, I just need to have the motivation or I just need to have the willpower.
Chronological aging might be inevitable, but feeling and looking old doesn't have to be. Shed's NAD+, which is often referred to as the fountain of youth, works at a cellular level to help slow the signs of aging from the inside out, repairing DNA, regenerating cells, and revitalizing your metabolism. Feel and look energized, vibrant, and youthful again. Try Shed's NAD+, and get 10% off with the code POD10, POD10.
Something I would love to know is, as a health coach, what is one myth that you hear often in the coaching room that drives you absolutely crazy?
Oh man, in order to be successful, I have to go completely off of carbs. I'm not going to eat a carb for the rest of my life. And the more we talk about it and try to understand why, I'll hear things like, I'm not going to touch a potato or a piece of fruit with a 10-foot pole. But then the further we get into talking about their nutrition, they're justifying the glass of wine, or they're justifying their Starbucks coffee that's got the pumps of the good syrup in it, and but yet not a banana ever, right? So that's kind of a myth that kills me, and because ultimately weight loss is simple but not easy. And I think because the implementation of it all is so hard, people are searching for some sort of crazy explanation or some sort of really intense thing that they have to do that's going to move the needle. But what it comes down to is consistency and sticking to the basics. Minimally processed whole food based nutrition that's balanced, and having the foods that they love in moderation. That all or nothing mentality is never going to be the key to success. So people come into this place where they're doing this crazy thing, they're all in, it's really hard, they're doing it, one thing happens and bam, they're off the wagon. It's over. And so then they're in the nothing stage, and that's where you see weight regain, sometimes extra pounds come on. And so we are really working to coach them to find that success, long-term sustainability and success, is found in middle ground, getting back on track, mastering the art of good enough versus perfection.
And you start to see this pattern of, well, it worked well for you in a short term, but the end goal is always sustainability and lasting habits. And how do we achieve that? And that's why they're often in our coaching room, is because it just doesn't stay off. And they believe that maybe we have the answer to help them stay off. And you're so right in the fact that the answer isn't fun. It's not flashy. It's not extreme by any means. It's actually living in that middle ground. How does health coaching help them with achieving their weight loss goals, but also really maintaining the weight loss that they achieve within our program?
GLP-1 medication can really help create the space for you to stick with consistent healthy habits, especially if you're struggling with food noise and appetite. When you don't have those things constantly chattering at you, it's so much easier to make healthy changes. It's not a magic bullet. You can't just take this medication, lose the weight, and then just move on with your life, unfortunately. It really comes down to using this medication as a tool to allow you to finally make those consistent changes, and then always being able to self-monitor and have learned the skill set to keep yourself on track when you no longer have that tool.
I was chatting with a client yesterday, actually, and she is 1 pound away from reaching her goal weight. And she was saying, I'm just so scared about gaining it all back. That is my biggest fear. And that's how I want to spend the rest of our time together over the next few weeks, is talking about maintenance. How do I maintain this? I'm scared that once I get off of this medication, it's all going to come back. So she looked back, and although the fear is so valid, right? Like, of course, you've put in so much work. It can be scary to think I might regain all this weight. What in your coaching experience, specifically here at Shed, do you feel is the biggest coaching breakthrough that you have ever seen with a client? I would love to hear that story.
I had a client who was in a pretty high-powered position. She had a very busy job as an executive, and her life was really stressful. So, she was barely catching any sleep, and then getting to work. She had phone calls in different time zones across the world. So sometimes that meant like middle of the night stuff was going on for her. And she just like was really stressed and had no time. We were just running into this brick wall because she had these really unrealistic expectations of what level of change she could make at one time. And because she finally got to a place where she's like, I'm not making any progress. I'm so frustrated, and I just can't make these changes. So we settled on something that she perceived to be super, super small. She was setting boundaries with her work. Because she was setting boundaries with her work, she was sleeping better. Because she was sleeping better, she was waking up and wanting to exercise. And like, it just, the power of tiny change. And again, meeting yourself where you're at, meeting the client where they're at. That was the breakthrough. No change is so small that it's insignificant. I think a lot of us get caught up in this idea that if we don't make these overhaul changes, it's not worth doing. But in the case of this client, it just was the tiniest little changes over time that ended up shifting her entire life. And she ended up losing over 50 pounds and keeping it off.
Did you know there's a natural way to boost your GLP-1 hormone levels without medication or needles? GLP-1 Boost is a natural supplement that contains a patented ingredient that has been clinically shown in human trials to increase GLP-1 hormone levels by 22%. It's a natural, powerful solution for craving control, appetite support, and weight management in the form of a super easy capsule. Get 10% off GLP-1 Boost with code POD10 today. POD10 today.
Tell us a little bit, since you are one of the OG coaches here at Shed, tell us a little bit about what the health coaching experience looks like here at Shed. What would people experience if they joined on with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you join on as a VIP health coaching client, you get introduced to the program via text or email, your preference, and you're prompted to book a video session with your coach. And you and your coach will have those really deep, personalized conversations and make sure that you set goals and address anything that you wanted to talk about from the previous couple of weeks. But you always have access to your coach through email and text, your preference there. You can always text into the coaching line and know that your coach is going to get back to you often right away because they're in there all the time. And that's a great way to address any challenges that come up or changes in plan with your goal. And our coaches will also reach out to you throughout the week if they haven't heard from you to make sure that you're doing great and sticking to your goals and feeling like you're making progress. But what's super nice is that we, again, meet people where they're at. So if you are coming in a place where you have more advanced habits, we will kind of move you right into the phase where you belong with more advanced goals, and everything is really personalized. So while we have a framework, it really is all about you.
Last question for you before you wrap up. If someone listening is on the fence about joining our health coaching program or signing up to work with a health coach, what would you say to them?
I have all of these cliches that come to mind, like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, definitely you have really nothing to lose by signing up for health coaching. We know that our coached clients lose more than our non-coached clients, and they stay on with us for longer and they lose weight faster. So it's the data shows really indefinitely that coaching is a wonderful option for people who are really committed to losing weight and making a change that lasts for good. It's really a transformation. The other cliche that I would bring into this is the one about teaching a man to fish, right? So you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, but you can teach a man to fish and he can feed himself for life. And that's exactly what health coaching is, right? We are teaching you to fish so that you know how to keep yourself on track, to get yourself back on track and really maintain and course correct so that you can be the best you for the rest of your life.
Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. This has been an awesome conversation, and we hope to have you back soon.
Amazing. Thank you, Brittany, for having me.
Are you concerned about the side effects of a GLP-1 medication? Rightly so. GLP-1 Revive was designed specifically for GLP-1 medication users to help minimize those side effects like nausea, bloating, fatigue, and digestive discomfort, so you can stay focused on your weight loss and health goals. Feel your absolute best on your journey with 10% off GLP-1 Revive today using code POD10, POD10.